I wanted to talk a few days ago about Russia and what had happened there. But yesterday, the delayed report about the corruption of Berijiklian, Gladyss Berijiklian, the former Liberal Premier of New South Wales, came out, and then we needed to talk about this. So I will talk a little bit about Berijiklian and a quick notes from what's happened, and then I will talk about Russian situation and what's happened in Russia, the military mutiny, coup, or whatever happened there, and why it happened, and the consequences. Quickly, Berijiklian was found by the ICAC investigation that she conducted, or she was implicated in serious corrupt conduct, and the ICAC. This is two notes worth noting here. ICAC recommended the Maguire, her secret boyfriend, to be to take further action, legal action against him, and initiate criminal investigation and charges. But despite the fact that there is she was implicated in this misconduct, in this criminal misconduct of her secret boyfriend, ICAC did not recommend criminal charges against Gladyss Berijiklian. This is first, which should draw a lot of attention here. Why? Why Maguire? She allowed him to do this. She intervened to give him all this access to the money, to the visa, to all the things. But he is the only criminal, and she is not charged with anything, or there is no recommendation to charge her with any criminal misconduct. So to make things clearer, Chris Minns, the current Labour Premier of New South Wales, who was the opposition leader during her premiership, instead of jumping and dancing from joy and start attacking the Liberal Party and attacking her and attacking all her cabinet and Liberal Party, or at least attacking her and accusing her of wrongdoing and being corrupt and other things, and then ask who else knew, who else allowed this, who else was implicated, because you can't believe that only Gladyss Berijiklian was involved in this big corrupt operation. Chris Minns was there to praise her, in fact. And this is unusual. Usually, the opposition or the other party, usually they will capitalize on anything, any wrongdoing, anything that the other side do wrongly, to capitalize and make it big. And here, Chris Minns was there praising her and saying that she done a great job on fighting against the pandemic, when in fact there was no investigation about the pandemic. Why Chris Minns was talking about her pandemic response, or response to the so-called pandemic? Why he chose to praise her on this issue? This issue was not part of the investigation. There was no investigation because Chris Minns and Anthony Albanese are blocking any royal commission or any investigation of how authorities handled the so-called deadly pandemic. And this here give us a lot of indication that both sides of politics were in the same bed when it comes to the wrongdoing against Australians and New South Wales residents. Both sides were in the same bed in the same bed in attacking our liberties, our freedom, destroying our economy, and covering up. They cover up to each other instead of the opposition. Usually, the other side usually they will dig for any mistakes to exploit the whole issue. And here, what the Christmas wants to send us a message that, despite the fact that Gladyss Berijiklian is a corrupt politician, we should not question her handling of the so-called deadly pandemic. We should not. She was doing everything wrong except this one is right. And now New South Wales residents need to ask 10,000 questions. If she's corrupt, this issue, visa for money scam, and all other grants that were given to Maguire, why we should trust such corrupt politician when it comes to closing down the society, destroying our freedom, destroying our liberties, attacking on our basic civil rights. This is what means now is desperate to defend his enemy, his political enemy, instead of being on the front line attacking her. Because what Gladyss Berijiklian did in New South Wales, Labour Andrews did worse in Victoria. Palaszczuk was doing worse in Queensland, and McGowan was doing even worse and worse in Western Australia, and all of these were Labour. And if we start to ask the biggest question, the main question, the hard question, it will be exposed that Labour and Liberals and the Greens were all in the same bed with the deep state to enforce the New World Order. I will stop on this because we need to wait to see how Berijiklian gate will unfold, or if these three major parties will cover up and make Maguire the only scapegoat. The same as the Labour did with Eddie Abeid. Eddie Abeid was not the only corrupt person. He was managing the whole Labour team. The whole Labour team was corrupt there, but then they made one scapegoat or two, Eddie Abeid and Ian MacDonald, and then they cover up on the rest of the team, because the whole team and the bureaucrats around them were implicated in, or should have been implicated if there were more deep investigation. What's happening in Russia? What's happening in Russia is now is very clear, despite the fact that Western media tries to convince you the opposite. Let us remember, during the first hours of the coup, the military mutiny, whatever you call it, of the Prigozhin and his leadership of the Wagner group, the Western media was very happy, and every expert they hosted, Channel 9, Channel 7, ABC, SBS, BBC, all of them, they hosted every kind of expert who all were saying that Wagner will occupy Moscow within 4 hours, and Putin, it is the end of Putin. This is what all this Western media was telling all of us. Suddenly, within hours, everything evaporated, and Prigozhin knew that he has no support within the military, no support within the political elite, no support in the parliament, no support among people, and he was enforced to give up and run away to Belarus. And if you listen to what Lukashenko was saying, Lukashenko is the president of Belarus. He was saying that at the beginning of the mutiny, Prigozhin was treating him as very bad. He's not answering his phone when the Russian military was talking to him, and even when Lukashenko talked to him, he was very bad. He was speaking with him in very bad language. Within hours, when Lukashenko told him that if you reach 200 kilometers from Moscow, you will be destroyed totally, because the Russian army is the Russian police and intelligence, everything was just giving you to advance until 200 kilometers from Moscow. At the 200 kilometers from Moscow, you will be destroyed, and nobody will support you. Nobody will come to help you. The media now, the Western media now, it changed its tone, because the mutiny that they gambled, or they wanted to believe that this military mutiny will destabilize Russia and could see the end of Putin. How stupid they are, I don't know, because even if the whole Wagner waged a war against their own people, the Russian military is big, is might, more than 1 million soldiers, and within days they can call for another 500,000 reserves. So and there are all these strategic weapons that is not used, and all these things. So anyone who thought that the Wagner by itself could destroy Putin government or Russian government, they should be mad. But this is the point. The deep state is very desperate at the moment, very desperate, because all its plans were crumbling in front of their eyes, and they are very desperate to believe that Wagner can, because they have some popularity in Russia, they can wage a colored revolution, similar to the colored revolution in Ukraine in 2014, similar to the colored revolution in Georgia, colored revolution in Egypt and others, with the support of 25,000 well-trained soldiers. They can destroy Russia, destabilize Russia, and maybe divide Russia. The Western media now, because their dreams evaporated very easily and very quickly, within a couple of hours, they are saying now it was all staged coup by Putin, and Prigozhin and Putin are coordinating with each other, and the Prigozhin and Wagner group was not serious. They just wanted to deceive the people. So what they achieved out of this, I don't know. Some people here said Wagner, Russian government wants to send Wagner to Belarus and to the border with Poland. Putin at the moment doesn't care about Poland, doesn't care about the NATO, and if he wants to send Wagner to Belarus and to the border with Poland, he doesn't need an invitation from NATO or any approval from the NATO. The Russians were sending Wagner to Mali, to Somalia, to Sudan, Egypt, to the whole Africa and other Asian states without telling anyone. They don't care, and they kicked out the French there from Mali, from Nigeria, from other countries very easily. So Russian leadership doesn't need an approval from the NATO to send Wagner to the border between Belarus and Poland. They can send it without all these things. These things is real. It is a real mutiny. Somebody, maybe maybe Prigozhin had a lot of ambition, and then nobody listened to him, and then and there are a lot of Washington Post and even Ukrainian sources were saying that Prigozhin was in contact with the CIA in Ukraine for a couple of months, and he was thinking that I can be the NATO strongman in Russia, the same as Yeltsin was in 1991. At the moment, anyone who's telling you that it was a staged coup, this is bullshit. It's rubbish. It was a real mutiny. Prigozhin thought that he has a lot of popularity in Russia. He might attract the attention of a lot of military generals and some of the politicians and members of parliament, because he's a hero. And we are hero. We liberated Bakhmut. We extended the Russian influence in Mali, in the whole North Africa and some of the Central Africa, and some Asia, Syria, Iraq, and other countries. So we have our muscles, and we are a mighty group. And if we stage this coup, a lot of people will follow us. This is another deep state, desperate action to destroy the opposition to its vicious, it's a criminal new world order that they want to enforce on all of us. The only obstacle in front of making all of us slaves under the new world order is Putin, Trump, and this is why on two fronts now they want to destroy Trump morally. All these legal action against Trump. They know that USA has a strong judicial system, so they will not be successful. For the last 5 years, they were initiating court after court, investigation after investigation against Trump, and all failed. And this will fail. But from now until the nomination of the Republican Party, they want just to make a big noise against Trump, to convince the Republican officials, to convince the Republican voters not to elect or not to pre-select Trump to run against whoever from the Democrats, the Democrats camp. So it is another desperate action from the deep state. What's happening in Russia, what's happening in Washington? It is a desperate action to salvage the collapsing New World Order. The New World Order that did not succeed because Russia could create a new group, a new powerful group against the New World Order, and Trump who could clean a lot in the Republican Party are also pushing a lot of Republican states to stay against the New World Order. It failed in Russia. It failed, and they will fail again and again, because Putin and his strong group of people who are, this is my understanding, who are leading the charge, who are leading the attempts to stop the deep state from destroying totally our freedom, our liberties, and to enslave the whole world under the New World Order they are trying to enforce on us. And you can see Trump and Putin, they are talking similar language. Why they are attacking our family values? Why we are against the over-sexualization of our education system. They are making they are trashing all this gender identity and the woke movement. Both of them are against the climate hoax. Both of them did not support or enforce mandatory vaccination with the mRNA vaccine. Both of them did not support the restrictions, the lockdowns during the pandemic. Both of them did not support most of the woke agenda, and working very hard to clean their own societies and bring all like-minded people in India, in Brazil, in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, Egypt, Sudan, and others together to stand up against the barbaric New World Order that the deep state wants to enforce on us.